Alright, we should be all set up. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So last time we did this, we brought our science production into the new factory. And now that's just cooking along pretty nicely, I think. It could be better, but it could also be a whole lot worse. This isn't going flawlessly. We have some problems to work out. And we had also upgraded our artillery range a little bit, so we might still be getting hit by a couple of attacks from the biters in retaliation, but we should be through the most of it, I think. So, our next priority is to figure out how to get these rockets launching. So, where did I even put the rocket launch site? It was like somewhere weird. Yeah, it was in here. It was this sort of unofficial square down there. So let's get down there and see what things look like. Because currently, I believe white science is the bottleneck in our science production. And so let's get down here. Alright, so we've got this. The rocket itself currently is built, but we don't have accumulators for the satellite. Okay. So that's fine. So I guess what we have to do is we just have to keep upgrading the production that goes into this thing until it all works out. So let's take a look over at our accumulator production. That's these two guys here, which I had turned off. So they were total of like 25 a second, or 0.25 a second, not 25 a second. This needs... Does it really need that? Well, it needs that many to run continually. But it definitely by no means has to run continually. So let's look over here at... I mean, this battery situation is slowly backing up, it looks like, maybe. And we've got that whole thing there. We've got laser turrets getting made. And that should be almost full, actually, on laser turrets. But I think what we need to do is we need to just make new accumulators in the new factory. So, where are those? Accumulators, here they are. Iron plates and batteries. Do we have batteries here? I'm pretty sure we do, right? Yes, we've got batteries. We definitely have iron plates. We definitely are continuing to be attacked down here. But it looks like it's holding out just fine. And the cannon is currently not shooting at anything, despite the fact that it's probably drawing aggro continually. So that's something we're going to need to fix, but it's not urgent. So let's find this free square, which I guess is going to be just keep on going to the north to get accumulators being made. And then that should help. That should help with that situation. And we're just going to have to keep doing this, just finding what it's lacking and adding it in. So we have artillery coverage past us here, so we're maybe safe. Maybe safe up here. We could maybe use some more. What if I rotate this? If I just rotate that, will that make this work better? I mean, I don't think it'll actually resolve problems, but it should be perfectly symmetrical, so it won't cause any problems, and it'll move the errors up to there, where hopefully they'll just be overwritten by the next line. Alright, so we are putting power lines back in, which will connect all of this back up. Except for those guys over there. Let's get them connected. Just in case. It's nice to have some laser turrets. Alright. And it's all getting built. Alright, make sure to just have drones sent off to do all of the steps, and now it should all be getting built. We can now put in our train unloaders. So we get you, and you are going to be battery input, and we get you. You are going to go over there, and you're going to be iron plate input. Number 20 billion, apparently. Have no shortages of train stations that draw iron plates. So now let's get the trains in for those 2 rows. So you get a train, which is set to iron plates group. Set to automatic, and I have to step a little bit closer to fuel you up. There you go. Then we go over here. Apparently that power connection needs to get made. And then we need a train. So you, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I ever make... I did make a battery group. It's currently only got the 1 train in it, but now it's got 2. You get set to automatic, and you get fueled up. So that requester chest is still incoming, but it'll get there eventually, alongside some other stuff which I am apparently short of. I feel like there's got to be a better way of just like organizing the drone network so that we don't have these constant lengthy delays. But I don't want to rework everything now, so we're just going to leave it as is. Okay, so there we have the train stop here, which we need to set up, and then call this... What are those things even called? I can never remember what they're called. Accumulator output. Accumulator output. And the odds of me ever actually using this particular train station for this designated task is pretty small. But just in case, may as well have it. And then, because it's that, we can put those in. Because we're mostly, I think, going to be filling the rocket via drones, just because there's too many inputs that it needs for it to be practical to do anything else. Alright, we have our iron plate delivery. The battery... The batteries seem to be doing their thing. This one is almost full and should be heading out to wherever it's going any second now, although I don't know where it's going. So hopefully it'll come here and then we'll get batteries. Alright, then I made a blueprint for this, which is a bit overcomplicated for what this is. But let's just pop all of those guys in. And then we connect it up. So you get the accumulator recipe, which is going to use a whole lot of batteries and a fair amount of iron plates as well. Alright, so that goes in there. This one is going to come down and in there. And then we can have this output into here, which, of course, it's in the middle of a forest. Why would I ever want to be able to see what I'm doing? Something like that. Can I just get rid of this stupid forest? Go away. There we go. Alright, and I did manage to get all those belts in correctly. So this should be all fine and ready to go once... Oh, this is set to inactivity and not delay. Alright, so we need to add time past 120 seconds. Delete inactivity. Set you to ore. Alright, now that is probably coming straight here. It sure is. Alright, so that should be accumulators done. And that should get the rocket launches running again until we run out of something else. Okay, let's see if these belts are even fast enough. There we go. Because it is certainly using a lot of batteries, and I don't know if I can't productivity module these because they're an end product. I don't know if I want to or need to speed module these for how fast we need them to go. I think they should be fine as is. So we just have to wait for this to get set up, and then the drones will start taking the accumulators from these chests, and then rocket launches will start happening again, and that will also accelerate worker robot speed. I'm surprised that this is still going, considering we basically don't have any accumulator production at the moment, which means we don't have any rocket launches or white science. So let's head down to where did we put that? It was all in here. Yeah, so this is completely dead with zero white science to be seen. Instead, the white science is mostly winding up down here, I guess. This box still has a good 1,000 left in it. Alright, let's... Do I just deactivate all of these? I mean, they're still perfectly good science labs, right? So there's really no reason to. They'll be just fine as is, and if we're getting science, then filling both of those up won't really be an issue. Alright, so yeah, these now have pickup requests. Which means that this should be getting them soon. Yeah, we have 41 delivered, now 49, soon to be, okay, 53. Doesn't need 53, but it's fine with it, I guess. Now, what is this satellite recipe? Why do we need so many? It's literally 25 accumulators per second if we wanted to run this round the clock. So, I definitely don't want to do that. But I do need to figure out just how fast this is. So this makes rocket parts at 0.18 per second. I have it fully productivity moduled, which should be helpful both in slowing it down so that I don't need to produce as much and in just making it more efficient. Alright, so there's definitely a bit of a delay here. And if we need a huge number of these, we might need to set this to a higher value. First rocket launch? No, we've done a good couple just sort of running in the background. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get it to run more continually. Alright, so that is doing something. Where are these? There they are. Starting to show up. So this, at its current speed, gives 0.25 satellites per second, which is very much overkill. So that's fine. And it needs 100 in order to work. So there we go. So that's going to make a satellite. And send off another rocket. Presumably, yep, there it goes. It is off. It's fun seeing that go. Alright, so then we have this, which got the rocket parts. This is crafting up. Oh, you can have like an entire spare rocket. I see, that's what these two bars are for. So that was only 1% there. So each rocket part is 1% of a rocket, apparently. So that means, yeah, we basically just don't need all that much. And then now this is low on something or other. So we don't need all that much for this to be running continually. Yep. The purple bar is very, very convenient. I love me some productivity modules. Alright. It's funny when randomly like a million drones show up all at once for whatever reason. Oh, because they're moving the white science to the science labs. That's what's happening. So if that's the case, then we just need to make sure that... I guess we just need more rocket fuel, really. The blue circuits might be fine. I don't know how many blue circuits we're producing. I'm pretty sure this is fine. Because we have a lot of production of those low density structures, but we're gonna have to check all of those. So the target is 1.33 per second. And then the target for this is basically nothing. Like, this is... As long as this is running, we're not going to have problems. Alright, there we go. That sent off another rocket. And that should help worker robot speed go up. We are pretty close to getting that unlock. Alright, so our goal is, let's see, I guess just 2 of these. We want 2 of these to be crafting continually, which means we're going to need 2.66 of everything, and then we're going to need more for the blue circuits. How long before research finishes? Now that we have the white science again, it's going to be another 5 minutes or so, apparently. Unless we run out of white science, which I think we might have enough. It's a bit hard to tell sometimes. So, anyways, let's get to... I already forgot what we were doing. It was rocket fuel, blue circuits, and low density structures were the three things that I was worried about. So those are all just very far away from me. Blue circuits are all the way down here. Low density structures are all the way over there. Rocket fuel is just like crammed in there somewhere. Not ideal. So let's head down and look at the rocket fuel, because it's like the current limiting factor. So down we go. And gosh, Spidertrons are so cool. I love these things. You can just go wherever you want to and not worry about it. Alright, so these require solid fuel and what is that, heavy oil or light oil? I can never remember which one's which. Light oil. So we should just make a dedicated production line to get rocket fuel from crude oil. And we need the same amount as the other bits, so 2.66 per second. Alright. Is that space or is that water? Oh, that's got a weird turnaround thing on it, but I think we should be fine to overbuild that, maybe? I think like only one train uses it, and only because I built it wrong in the first place. We could also just build in this area here, which also has a little turnaround in it. Alright, let's go down into this area. And, well, first of all, we should get rid of this. Alright, so this goes out. Let's just dismantle all of that in bulk before getting rid of the rest of this stuff. And I think the only train that needed this was the artillery train because I set it up weirdly, but I also might have fixed it so that it isn't set up weirdly anymore. So we'll see if you get stuck in the near future, otherwise that should be an okay change to make. Alright, train square V2. Goes in here. Is it all lined up? I think so. So we just place that. And see if I got this all correct. That all goes in. We're losing more drones. Why are you getting yourselves killed? Over here still? Yeah, they keep dying trying to repair this stuff. I think it's probably okay. It's not a huge amount of drones that we're losing, and we've got still plenty. Although, it is starting to get a little bit low, maybe. I mean, it's still extreme overkill, but it's getting to somewhat less extreme overkill. Alright, anyways, let's get in a fluid train unloader. And now we get to mess around with fluids again. So those go in. We need... where are they? They should be in here somewhere. Yes, pumps. Let's craft up a couple of those. And then connect that up to that. And you can call in for oil input. Alright. Did the artillery train get stuck? No, this oil train got stuck. Why did you get stuck? Is this whole thing backwards? It shouldn't be. Alright, what have I done? Oh, research finished. Very cool. Let's see here. Let's get... Which of these... how did I never research this? Let's just do that real quick. Because that's just like not even one of the infinite researches. That's just a regular old research. Alright. So... You are stuck out here for some reason. You should be able to just go around there, come down this way, go over this way, and then be on this track going this way, which should be correct. Oh, because, of course, these stupid things here have gotten in the way of everything. So we need to fix that. I really, at some point, should have made sure that my blueprint actually works. But it's not that hard to just fix. And once any of those train tracks get in, that train should be able to find its way. Alright, so you are set up to crude oil input. And I think we get another fluid train as well. Just to make sure, we always have fluid trains. There we go. You can use map, hold control, then go along path to search for error. Yeah, I think it figured it out, right? Yeah, it figured itself out eventually. It was just because of those broken paths there. Alright, so you get to go over there and fuel up probably. Also, speaking of paths which aren't there, which are supposed to be, you and you. There we go. And are there any others at like these weird corners? No, things look fine there. Alright, cool. So, do we have a train coming this way? We do not. Yeah, it's definitely useful to have tools to fix you from messing up, because it's pretty easy to make mistakes. I just constantly get like weird stuff in my blueprints. Like there are random power lines in like all of my blueprints, which are sometimes just in inconvenient places. And it's quite annoying. Alright, so there are plenty of trains waiting at crude oil inputs and outputs. This one here is waiting for a spot at an output. I probably need to just grab more crude oil, since what I'm going to be doing here is going to use a lot of it. So let's see here. Where? Turn that off so I can actually look at the map. There's 478% there. There's, let's see, where else? There's that one, which I have. That one, which I already grabbed. And that one, which I already grabbed. I don't remember that being so small. Alright, is that 478% the only oil within like 100 miles that I haven't already been using? I think so. Oh wait, no, there's this one up here, which is actually quite good. Alright, let's go up there and grab that. Okay, we finished that research. Let's do research speed, because I should probably be doing more of that, since that's currently a significant part of the bottleneck. Alright, so to grab that oil, we're going to have to go all the way up there. It looks like there aren't too many biters by it, so it should be fine. And we also have the Spidertrons, so I'm a lot less worried than I otherwise would be. So let's get up to the north and then find out how we're going to get over there. Alright, so I think the easiest way would be to just like extend another branch off of this line so that we don't mess with all of the grid. So we're going to have to get over here and so close and yet so far. Do I have... I don't have that much landfill on me to just like sneak a little path across that. We can just go around. We finished more research speed. And let's... artillery shooting speed. Why not? I don't think that's ever been a major limiting factor, but may as well get the research. Alright, so we're up here. How do we do this? We need another just T intersection off of back here, I guess. Still on your first playthrough? Yeah, we're very, very near the point where I'm going to be happy calling it done, though. Like, I just want to get the rocket silos loading continually so that I can say that I have a good, solid setup for them instead of just a scuffed, thrown-together one. But once that happens, we'll be good. Nope, not Space Age. We're doing just base game for now. Wait, is that the right way? Let's see here. The train goes up there, loops around, goes back there. Yeah, so that's correct. And then this one, we need you to branch off over this way as well. This is definitely not how you're supposed to do this. Yeah, no, let's not do it that way. Let's have that set up and that set up, because from that position I know how to build these. So this goes into here. Please don't do dumb why would you do it that way instead of some halfway sensible way? Okay, just a couple of drones getting destroyed. So let's take that one out. And okay, that's just like one step too sharp, I guess. So let's bring that back one. And it really loves doing weird stuff. Alright, so you connect up like that. And then you can go around like this. When is this going to be normal? Why is it like this? Why can't you just do normal stuff? Alright, we're going to have to bring this even further back, I guess. And then, oh, is it because of this power line being here? I bet it doesn't want to cross through that power line. Yeah, that's definitely it. Alright. So let's reroute the power line. So you can go there, and then down the middle. Oh, that was not right. And then up to there, and then we should be able to take that one out and put the rails in. Just like that. Straight through where that power line was. And then we just need to get these connected up across to the other side, which is also going to involve carefully juking some power lines. So that goes like that. That goes like that. And I think that's correct. So that comes down and out that way, or that goes up and out that way. Yeah, alright. So that is all set up for a nice solid two-way rail intersection. And now we just have to turn north and you go a little bit further out before turning just to leave some space. And this is a majestic Spidertron right here. Just sitting all on one tiny little landfill. And speaking of landfill, why is it taking so long? Why are the drones apparently just taking landfill from the other side of the planet? Isn't the landfill... Isn't it just like right around this vicinity? I could have sworn I even like made a specific thing for it. Like a specific buffer chest. So that we could have landfill close to here. Yeah, the landfill is just right down here. Oh, but this is not producing landfill well. So that's the problem. We just don't have much. Now these say they're being delivered from somewhere, but they don't say where. Alright, we're gonna have to go back and take a look at the landfill because we simply cannot be waiting for that long for this. Okay, so the problem is the stone is on tier 2 belts and it's just not getting there fast enough. And the sort of follow-up problem is that we also probably just don't have enough stone in general for this. So let's do the belt upgrades. Like that. And I guess we're going to have to do a bit of a rain check on our oil expansion until this builds up a bit more. And then, yeah, so the stone has done all of that. So you are waiting here. You have a good couple thousand in each. Although it's definitely not being distributed evenly, looks like. Looks like this side is getting way more, but it should balance out probably. Okay, so the train has left. It should be making its way over here. And then we're mostly waiting on stone to actually get produced, so not having a train in that station isn't super urgent. Where did you go? You said you run into a station, but it wasn't this one? Alright, no, you're just going around a whole path. Here you are. And we get stone. So now with this extra speed belt, we should maybe get enough stone all the way down to the landfill. Yes, so that's good. We are producing landfill once more. And then we have this whole weird loop system, because I think I got the wrong thing in at one point. Like, I had somehow gotten stone bricks back here, and I needed to drain them all out, so that's what this loop is. But I don't think we need that anymore. So yeah, let's cut that and that. So now the stone can just do normal stone stuff. Alright. We are now producing landfill and stone bricks. But this is just about to run out again already. So we need this to do more. Which means speed modules. Have fun with those. Alright, did I miss any? I don't think I missed any. So that should hopefully solve that problem. I mean, 3 tier 3 speed modules is a lot per machine. Because these are going 1.62, it's like more than twice as fast, almost 3 times as fast. So that should result in just plenty of stone for all of these. This last one is slow belts. Why are you slow belts? I don't think it matters, but someone upgrade those. It doesn't look like belt speed is the limit, but if it is, then we just want that to be fixed for symmetry, if nothing else. Alright, so that's gotta be enough stone. And it's leaving again. So now we're going to be building up backlogs in all of these boxes. Alright, now we're also having issues because this isn't balanced properly. So what if we just connect those in like that? Okay, the result is that now they've taken the belt out and not replaced it yet, and everything is all slowed down a lot. What we want is for the spares from this to completely saturate this belt so that these machines can still be used. There it is. And now we've got even more stone somehow. And from that point, basically everything is all connected into each other. It's going to be kind of tricky to get more connections across. But we shouldn't really need to. This should be good to go. Alright, so yeah, that should be fine. And we're making a significant amount of landfill, which I imagine most of it is just going to buffer chests in various places. So yeah, we now have 125 in logistic storage and 100 in personal inventory. Landfill does not go very far. Like, you need a lot of it to get anything done. So we're still going to have to just wait on that. In the meantime, I had been doing something with oil, right? What was I doing? Oh, I was setting up this. Alright, so you have your oil here. You got visited by the little miniature oil train. So let's head back down there and get the rocket fuel setup going. So that's going to be just over here. Now this is going to be fun with ratios. Oh, I just unlocked uranium rounds and stuff. That's fun. Probably not going to make those because I don't really see the need. But it's fun to have them unlocked at least. So we are going to need... where is it? Rocket fuel is solid fuel and light oil. So if we do advanced oil processing, we get heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum gas. We can turn the heavy oil and petroleum gas into solid fuel, and the light oil then goes directly into that recipe. Alright, so let's, I guess, just start by getting the ratios figured out. So we have U, set to rocket fuel, And probably productivity module, because I do love me some productivity modules. Alright, and then let's get... Is that anything to worry about? Oh, that is something to worry about. They're actually damaging a defensive line somewhere. Oh, it's this freaking one over here. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this defensive line. That is just always gets obliterated by the biters. It has a gun a little bit. I mean, that should be close enough. That should be close enough that we are not having problems. I had pollution turned off, which I generally like to have turned on. I don't know why, but I think it just looks cooler. Alright, stop getting distracted. We need oil refineries. Do I even have any in my inventory currently? No, I do not. So let's get a couple of those queued up. Alright, so we need an oil refinery and at least like 2 chemical plants probably. So you do advanced oil processing. You would do either heavy oil to solid fuel or heavy oil to petroleum to light oil, depending on what we need. Alright, so let's also queue up some more chemical plants, because we're definitely going to need a whole bunch of those. Alright, time to do some ratios. Can you actually underclock machines in this? I don't know if you can, aside from productivity modules. So we need 0.33 solid fuel and 0.33 light oil. So one of these gives 9 light oil, 5 heavy oil. Alright, I need like... Can I just get a sign or something to write on? Display panel should work. Oh, I'm crafting 20 other things. Okay, that's not going to work. Arithmetic combinator, go. The old calculator. The old in-game calculator. So, we need 0.33 of each. This gives us 9 light oil, 5 heavy oil. Okay, let's get another one of these in so that we can see heavy oil to light oil, which is the other thing we might want. So, this gives us 9 light oil, 5 heavy oil, 11 petroleum. So this would turn 11 petroleum into 11/20ths solid fuel. So, hang on. We have to multiply numbers by like 10 or so. So that is divided by... That feels wrong, right? Is that right? So that should be... Well, it's going to be rounded, isn't it? Let's add an additional 0 so that we can get correct decimal points. So 0.55. So this makes 11 petroleum gas, which is going to make 0.55 solid fuel. I could have done that in my head. I don't know what I'm doing. So that is more than enough petrol. That is more than enough solid fuel right off the bat. Just with no extra work, one of these provides more than enough petroleum gas to make the solid fuel we need. Then the heavy oil, we need 0.33 light oil wait, and this is 9. Wait. No, I'm dumb. The ratios are weird. Let's just see here. So this would turn our 5 heavy oil into 5/4 or something. Why is my brain not doing math today? I'm normally much better at doing these ratios in my head. So that's 20 to 15, which is like you're losing a quarter. So this would be 4 point something then, which would give us like 13-ish light oil, which is actually enough to run a bunch of these. Okay, let's just work backwards. Let's just get however many of these we need, because we know the final result. We need like 2.66 output. So let's get... Actually, let's do the whole beacon thing to make these go faster, because otherwise it's going to take absolutely forever. And get that, and the productivity modules. Alright, so each of these are 0.22, and that'll be higher when we get more of this stuff in. So you do something like that. Did we use all of our productivity modules? No, they're just getting delivered from somewhere else for no particular reason. So these are 0.29 in the middle, which is... Alright, math time. Wait, what are the math do we even need to do? Alright, 29 times 3. Okay. 29 times 3 is 87. So, 3 of these internal ones would be 0.87. What about times 8, maybe? 29 times 8 is... So this would be 2.32, and then plus 0.22 would be 2.5, and then 2.6. So we need 10 assemblers like this. Alright, that's pretty easy. So let's just start with that. And get this expanded out into, I guess a double row of 5 each. No, that would actually be less efficient. Or it might be more efficient if they can reach each other. So if we do something like this, then run our power lines up. Something like that. So now these machines are going even faster. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 0.35. Yeah, okay, so I think we just need to expand these rows out just ever so slightly more. So you go like that, and you go like that. Alright, this should be... Well, I mean, it'll be enough rocket fuel at least. I don't think the world's gonna explode if we make too much rocket fuel. So then they can take the light oil from the center here, and we're probably gonna move this whole arrangement to somewhere else in this block once we figure out how much space the rest of it needs. But might as well get it all set up. So we've got that. And then this will also just help have these be on 2 separate belts, might be useful. That power line needs to not be there specifically. That didn't break anything catastrophically, did it? No, it did not. So we need a belt to be there, and then for the power line to be in the gap. Alright, so that belt is in. Then the power line gets put in. Like so. Alright, now we just have to... Yes, we can take our inputs from this side and then output onto, I think, just the same belt if we use the sides of the belt, but it might not be fast enough for that. We might need to use a second belt for the output. Okay, wait, these don't need those, just the actual machines, not the beacons. Alright, then we need second rows of belts here and here with long inserters so that we can get our outputs. And this all goes in. There we go. Let's get an additional power line in there. So this is all set up once these are connected across, I guess. So if we just go like that and like that, you go into there, done. And then the outputs we can merge up later. So that is that step. Now we need to add up the inputs for all of this. So we need 1.58. So these ones are 2.5, which makes them pretty easy. These edges are all weird numbers though. So we have 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15. That's 17-ish. That's 18.5-ish. That's going to be, what, 20.6. And this will be 21 point something. Math. If only math weren't so hard. There isn't, like, a way of... Can the circuit network actually do that? So if we connect you up to power so I can see... No, you can enable, disable, you can set recipe, and you can read some stuff, but you can't tell it to go, like, 20% slower or whatever. Which means we're not going to be getting exact ratios of what we want here, but that's fine. Alright, so we have... Let's do this again. We have 1.58 times 2. So 158 times 2, because these things can't do decimals, is 316. Plus 209 times 2, because we got 2 of those. So we have 7.34 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2.5. 6 times 2.5 is 15. So we have 7.34 plus 15. And so let's just make that in our decimal land there, and then this can output to something. Alright, the numbers get too big. The numbers get too big. Oh well. So it's somewhere in the realm of... Okay, laser turrets are being attacked, but only the one got destroyed, so we should be fine. Oh wait, no, this is supposed to be plus, not times. That's why we're getting such a big number. So we're somewhere in the realm of 2.2... Well, I guess 22.34. 22.34 of solid fuel and light oil. Alright, so now we get to do the other part of this, which is the solid fuel and the light oil part. So that is going to be made in these, and it's going to be very heavily based on the ratios of what we get from the oil refineries. So let's make solid fuel from petroleum gas, maybe. Let's see, so this coal liquefaction is not what we want. Advanced oil processing gives us all that stuff. This is just very inefficient. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Oh boy, no, that's not good, that's not good. You get over there. And while you're going, can I grab you and give you some settings? I don't think I have you set on auto fire. Alright, although you do have your lasers, so that's fine. Alright. Instantly very glad that I set that guy up. Now, you set to auto fire and then go out a little bit past the factory, so you can stand there while we get that. Did I ever make a blueprint for just a wall of lasers? No, I didn't. Let's do that now. So we get... I could have sworn I have something like that. Anywhere in here. Turret box. No. It's none of those. Is it like one of the ones that just ended up in my personal inventory and never got placed in the folder? No. So we should just make one then. So we have that. And let's just get this to be like 2 of those across. I have deja vu. I've definitely done this before. Alright, so then this can be just 2 lasers per power pole. And then we can just save this as laser wall. And then we just build this out. And currently we have this laser wall down here, which is already pre-built, so we should be able to just make this corner go in. And now we should be secure. I guess we just Gotta get this last little bit through like that. And then we need to power the whole thing up. And also get it just one more to the right, because somehow I missed that. It's very unlikely for them to actually sneak through there, but better safe than sorry. Now it's basically impossible. Alright, so that little distraction is done. The biters are very good at preventing you from doing what you want to be doing. So what were we doing? We needed to make 22.34 of light oil and solid fuel. So the light oil is, I guess just 3 oil refineries would do it. That would give us 27-ish. 2 oil refineries would do it if we used some heavy oil cracking. But we might need the heavy oil for the solid fuel. So for now, let's say... Well, let's try to do it with the less oil way. So we have 2 of these. That gives us 18 light oil. We need 22. So then we would have 1 of these, which would make 10 heavy oil into 7.5 light oil. So 7.5 plus 18 is more than 22, so that would be more than enough light oil, which might actually be an issue, because we might have to do some circuit network stuff to balance between the 2 options. So if light oil is saturated, we turn on some solid fuel machines and turn off the light oil machines. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to do that. Alright. Anyways. So that gives us the light oil from the heavy oil and light oil from this. So then we would have 22 petroleum, which converted to solid fuel is a fantastic 1 solid fuel, not the 22 something that we need. So that is going to be a problem. Now, if we get heavy oil to solid fuel, that's also 20 to 1. And if we get light oil, that's 10 to 1. Alright, so light oil to solid fuel is 10 to 1. Hang on, let me just do this math here. So light oil to solid fuel is 10 to 1. Petroleum gas to solid fuel is 20 to 1. Petroleum gas, light oil, 30 light oil to 20 petroleum gas would give us 1, so that would just be more wasteful, right? Yes, so we definitely don't want to be doing that. 40 heavy oil to 30 light oil might actually be better. So 40 heavy oil would normally make you 2 solid fuel. If we turn that into 30 light oil, it would make you 3. So I guess that's a marginal improvement, but we just need so much of this stuff, apparently. Yeah, we need enough of this that the light oil is going to be relatively trivial by comparison. So let's just figure out the best way of just converting all of this into solid fuel. So we've already determined that heavy oil to solid fuel is 20 to 1, but heavy oil to light oil to solid fuel is slightly better. But then light oil is 10 to 1. Light oil to petroleum gas to solid fuel is much worse than 10 to 1. So I guess, well, we make solid fuel out of the petroleum gas that we have, but then everything else we are going to want to convert into light oil. All right. So, how much light oil do we need then? If that's 22.3 something, then we're going to need, let's call it 23 solid fuel for safety, which means at a 10 to 1 ratio, we need 230 light oil. So if we need 230 light oil, and heavy oil to light oil is, what's the ratio there? It's 40 to 30. So then, one of these would make, gosh, my brain is working today. So I think we just have to, like, I think it's going to be easier to just spam a whole bunch of... Yeah, let's just simplify this down another step first. So we take those out, and let's just make the actual light oil to solid fuel production line. And then we're going to have a... we're going to have like a petroleum gas to solid fuel thing as well. So we don't need all of this to go. Alright, we can always productivity module this, right? To make it more efficient. So let's do that. So you all get to make that recipe. And I actually want this to be speed moduled with satellites, or with beacons. So we get you, and then a beacon, and then another one of you. So you are going to be making solid fuel from light oil. And speed modules don't make the actual efficiency worse, right? No, just energy consumption, which I don't care about. Alright, so let's get productivity modules in there, speed modules in there, and then we start copy-pasting. So we get a good couple of these in, call it something like that, and then we might do the same thing that we did with the other ones, where we have these sort of 2 rows alternating, because that's more efficient in terms of how fast the machines can go. Alright, let's get power lines over here. And there we go. And then over here. And there we go. So these make 2.66 solid fuel each there, but the big ones in the center make 4.09. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. This is more than enough. So we can run our pipe down the center. And I think I'm just gonna set this up without worrying about ratios and then use the circuit network to get ratios correct. So this is going to be more than enough solid fuel production. And let's see, considering this one has the solid fuel come from down from the bottom, I think this one is going to have the solid fuel go down to the bottom. Just planning ahead. There we go. So we have this, and presumably both of these are going to be attached up to the same light oil pipe. Alright, so the petroleum gas output here is the last remaining issue. And also, I guess, making sure that the heavy oil and light oil both get used properly to make our solid fuel here. Alright, so that goes like that. These two are going to connect up and then go into that. So if we now get sufficient light oil into this pipe, then the whole thing will run. Assuming we have somewhere to put the petroleum gas. Alright, so next up, we are going to make heavy oil to light oil, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. So, let's get some of these guys in for that. And you are just heavy oil to light oil, and you also take water, which is an annoying added complication. And you are going to be productivity module. Where are my productivity modules? There you are. And you're all set up now. Alright, so we need this to make how much light oil? These are like 30 each, so that's like 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 175, 190. That's another 45, so that would be 235, so 250-ish light oil. That's an insane amount. Now each of these make like 10. And if we do beacon stuff for them, it'll be even faster. So let's get them set up for that. Alright, so what proportion of the light oil out of this comes from heavy oil as opposed to light oil directly? This is like almost, but not quite 1-to-1. Which means that for every 5 we make here, we're getting 9 out of the refinery. So what that means is that if we need, what did I say, like 260 or something, then this is going to need to be like a third of that, so 100-ish. So I guess nothing to do but just start copy pasting. Okay, let's actually have these power lines not in when I do the copy pasting because they're going to get pasted weirdly, and I'm not going to be happy with them. So let's get all of these guys in, and then the output is all just going into a single pipe, which means we can save space and squeeze them in together like so. Alright, so now we can get our power lines back in. And actually, we can just put the power lines adjacent from the beacons, and they're still close enough to power everything up there. Alright, what is happening here? Okay, they just keep attacking this spot, and it looks like they are starting to try to go a little bit around the edge. So just in case, let's get a couple more laser turrets up there to help out. And then back to this. So this is going to create, I forgot to put these in. Alright, so now that these are all making lightning speed, apparently, this is going to be way more heavy oil to light oil than I could ever use, which is a good problem to have. But then I just need to keep in mind that I don't need to actually provide that much to the... I don't actually need to provide enough heavy oil to power all of that, because it's going to be way overkill. So let's just connect our pipes up. Alright, so that is the light oil provided for all of that. Now we just need to... Can we control pipes with these? Cannot connect to wire. Dang it. Alright. So in that case, we're going to have to... Alright, what I think we need to do is we need to have a... What do we need to do? We need to have, like, something. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I did not get much sleep last night, so my brain is a little bit foggy today. So for the circuit network, what we need is we need to make sure that it's balanced. Let's get this in first. So if we need something in the realm of 260 light oil across the heavy oil and those, then these, if we give you productivity modules, and then actually, can we squeeze beacons here? We might be able to just put a beacon there and have it work. So this obviously has to go under that. Okay. I think just having the alternating thing is going to be simpler. It probably is just less space efficient, but simplicity is cool. So we have this set up. You get your speed modules, and you get all that. So these are making 20-something... well, they're making like 36 heavy oil and light oil, so we really only need like 4 of these. Oh boy, we lost a power line. What's going on down here? That is this corner. There should be a buffer chest right there with spare stuff, although I don't know why. Yeah, okay, drones did eventually show up. I guess there just weren't any drones on site, which I guess is fine. Okay, there are like 100 drones in there, so I don't know what was taking them so long. Oh, those are logistics drones, not construction drones. Got it. Okay, what is happening that caused us to lose 13? I guess just a really, really unfortunate timing for the biter attack. Alright, well, nothing we can do about that. Let's go back down to here. Let's copy this, and we're going to push this down here a little bit so that we have space. And so if we have that all set up, and then we get our power lines by the beacons, and we can get rid of that because those aren't needed. So this is going to provide us 30, 60 something, like, hang on, how much total between heavy oil and light oil? Because heavy oil is approximately 1-to-1. So this is 48.5. This is, so that's basically 50. That's like another 50. So we have got like 100 there. Alright, so I think we need to expand this out just like another 2. Like that. Alright, I think that will be enough in terms of numbers. And if it isn't, then we can fix it. So then we have our petroleum gas, which is going to be making solid fuel. And we just need to make the petroleum gas solid fuel favored on the belt, which merges them together, I think. And we're going to have 40, 80, 120, 160, 190, 220-ish petroleum gas. So then we're going to need more chemical plants, probably. So let's get a couple of those set up. And then that. Do we just want this to be like as inefficient as possible and not even productivity module it just to make sure it gets out of the way? If we're gonna have, no, it'll be fine. We should be able to manage this pretty easily. We are definitely going to beacon it, though. Where are the beacons? There they are. Alright, so let's get you in. And you do that with productivity modules. You get speed modules. So those take 40 each. These give like 40 each. 40, 80. So we need basically as many of these as we have of those. Alright, so let's just copy paste this a couple of times. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, cool. Alright, so then just get that last one powered on. And now we need to, all this time I need to set up the water train. Somehow I've just kept not doing that. Water input. Give you a locomotive and 1, 2, 3, 4 fluid wagons and a fluid train unloader. There you go. Then we power you up. both of these actually need refuelers. This one, because it's normally just in the train unloader blueprint, but this time I'm not using that one. Alright, so you get some solid fuel so you can go off, and then you get assigned to the water group. Automatic. Off you go. Have fun. And then probably it won't be too long before we get... Okay, no, it actually has to fill up and come back, but hopefully that won't be that much of a delay. Alright, now we set this up. So we start with a pipe which goes all the way across and is going to feed the water in. So we've got that. And it is going to come back here. Those pipes definitely did not connect up at all. Alright, so we've got that. And then we need to also have the water pipe go into there. So there you go. You get all attached up. And then go back to that. Alright. Next, let's actually do this bit next. And this, as soon as I do that, I see that this needs to be aligned differently so that these can get out safely. So you all just come out like that. And then you're going to have to connect up to something somehow. And then we're going to have to set up this same thing. Can I just copy and paste this? Ooh, the water showed up. That's nice. Okay, copy and paste you. Flip you horizontally. And let's see here. Is there a way that this just lines up like this, I guess? It's a bit weird, but sure. Let's just place it in like that. Alright, so then this pipe is going into the heavy oil residue slot, so this one needs to be the water pipe. This one needs to be the heavy oil residue pipe, currently empty. So this water pipe then has to come around this way and connect into there. Then our heavy oil residue pipe needs to... we might have space problems here. Although, let's see. If this goes far enough... Alright, we can do that to get those two halves of the heavy oil residue pipe connected up. Alright, so now we just need to get this crude oil pipe built. And then we're going to have to probably do some staring at circuits to prevent this from jamming when the ratios aren't quite correct. So that goes out like there. And... okay, this isn't, I guess, going to be one singular pipe, just because of how it lines up. But we can bring that along to there. And now, those are going. Okay, now we have 3 outputs, and not much space to use them in. So we start with this pipe, which is nice and close in there. Then we have this one go out to there. And we have this one go out to there. Maybe? No, it'll actually be easier to do those in the opposite order. So the light oil residue goes out to there and across like that. The heavy oil residue goes out to there and then across like that, which will allow it to connect in with that pipe, which provides heavy oil residue to all those machines. Alright, now let's get the rest of these pipes filled in. So that is that one. All of these power poles are going to have to be moved ever so slightly, and we'll figure out exactly where they're being moved to once we have the rest of this pipe stuff built. Alright, so that goes all the way across, and then... Okay, so these actually have to be moved back, which is, of course, why I didn't want to go to all the effort of figuring everything out perfectly just yet. So if we can just squeeze these in on the side here, like that, and then they'll be completely out of the way. So then our heavy oil residue pipe can run along like that. And now we just have to connect all the pipes up. So you go in like that. Alright, the petroleum goes... Wait, those don't need to be underground pipes, those just need to be regular pipes. Petroleum goes out to here. Alright, artillery shell shooting speed is finally finished. Let's get stronger explosives. That sounds fun. Alright, then we need to connect the heavy oil up. So there we go. Just like that. Alright, so that's all that connected up. Now we get this in like that and connect it to that. Alright, now we know where these power lines can go and where they can't, so let's just plop all of these guys in like that. And we get an output belt. Actually, we might need... No, this should be fine, probably. I was worried we might need extra output belts, but I think it'll be okay. Alright, so then that goes, and apparently we needed these power lines to be on this side in order to get the inserters dealt with. Alright, so that is solid fuel. And these machines have a fluid ingredient shortage because these ones are output full. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to connect the light oil up to just the entire grid of light oil requirements, which is over like that, and then under there, and connect up to there. Alright, so now those will all go, and make... Okay, we need to get these output belts in. And... Cyan, hello. We are setting up a rocket fuel factory. And it is very confusing trying to get ratios correct and everything. And I think we're just going to be mostly relying on the circuit network in order to make sure the ratios work out. So we can like manually turn machines off if there would be an issue basically with that. Alright, so we get you, then meet up to there. Two of you merge together. And then let's get a train loader set up here. Which, oh wait, no, stop that. I didn't hold the right button, so it was going to overwrite the other stuff I had there. So, there you go. Then we just set that up. And we bring this belt into there. And then we click on all of those so that the rocket fuel can get into the logistics network. And now this will be entirely functional until something breaks, which seems to have happened immediately. So that's output full. This is short on heavy oil residue. And these are apparently full of this. Right. So that was the other thing which we needed to do. We need to bring this around, send it in there, and input priority right, so that that can drain and hopefully get as much petroleum gas out of the system as possible. And now we have to just stand here until it breaks again and then figure out what happened that time and then how to fix it. I don't know if this should work, right? So, oh wait, I just discovered a problem here, which is that this is only using one side of the belt. So let's just do that real quick. So now as much petroleum gas as we output will be used. And hopefully that will just continue to not be an issue. And the light oil can flow. So light oil looks like it's filling up now, but the petroleum gas looks like it might be going down a little bit. But with the light oil going up, that's definitely a problem. Now let me think here. If the light oil gets fully jammed, then that won't actually... Will that actually break anything? Because we make both the petroleum coke and the final product is all light oil. So can we even have too much light oil? We'll have to see. It might cause it might cause this to back up afterwards. Like once this fills up, then I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I doubt that I've gotten this entirely correctly so soon on like basically my first try. It would be real cool if I did. It would be real cool if I did. So these are filling up with rocket fuel. So that's a good sign. But light oil has hit fully capped, which means the other things are now not present. But light oil being fully capped is probably fine. I think that's not an issue. Unless either of these start filling up, or we don't have enough... We should have enough petroleum... We should have enough solid fuel production, right? If I did the math correctly. If I did the math correctly, we should have enough solid fuel production as is. Just from the light oil. Now, I was kind of expecting heavy oil to fill up, but it looks like the heavy oil is getting converted into light oil properly. Alright, more drones are getting killed. That just seems to be the price of doing business. Alright. I think this might simply just be working. Now, okay, here's another thought. What happens if this stops running? If this stops running and everything piles up, once it starts running again, will it be fine? I think so. I don't know if there's any way of really telling about that, aside from just having it break and see what happens. So yeah, I mean, these are even output full, and simultaneously have enough input. Wait, that's actually lower now. So now light oil supplies are going down. Oh, that's just because we don't have crude oil. Okay, that's not really an issue that I'm worried about. Let's get eeny, meeny, miny, mo, energy weapon damage. It's going to be a bit expensive and probably take ages, but boy, it'll be fun once we have it. Alright, so we're running out of light oil because we're running out of crude. We don't have another train on the way. So, that means it's time to go back to what I was doing before I ran out of landfill and had to pause for a bit, which might still be a problem. Not in logistics network. Oh, I overwrote a drone port in this area. That's not good. Alright, that pipe on the end there I can delete without problems. So let's pop that in. Alright, now I'm in the drone network. 945 landfill in logistics storage. But it's probably going to be scattered all across the entire planet. But I guess I'd better go and get it started at least. We're going to just let you go past. And run up to the north where our other supply of oil is. It's kind of crazy how much oil you need to do basically anything. I guess the rocket fuel is a especially massive demand, but you still need a lot. Alright, so we got to about here when we ran out of landfill last time. And we are trying to get up to there for a nice juicy 1200%. I don't know what those numbers are. I don't know like why they're different from all the other stuff. Alright, so you just keep going forwards. And we're gonna need drone coverage out here, aren't we? And we're also out of landfill again. Because of course we are. Alright, so you need to go up there. You need to get up to there. And I think that's only out of landfill because we don't have drone coverage here. So once all of this stuff gets built, it should figure out that it can go there. Yeah, there we go. Now we just have to wait for landfill. Making trains across the ocean is not especially fun. I guess what I could do is I could make a buffer chest. Let's do that. I could have sworn I'd already done this exact thing in like this exact area, but who knows. So you are a buffer chest, and you are going to get... Where are you? Just like 200 rail. We don't need that much of that. And then like a billion landfill. All the landfill you can get. And yes, there's only 500 some landfill in logistic storage, and it's all, I think, in just other buffer chests. So that's gonna be a bit rough. It might be enough of a problem that we just have to continue waiting. Yeah, building this out over the ocean is definitely not convenient. We're north of all this stuff, so we should be able to just like take a dash to the right to get onto land. Or we could just, I mean, heading straight up is just way more convenient though. So landfill or not, I think we're just gonna have to keep on going. So the further up we go, the closer we are to being able to get to land on the right. And we just need to keep on bringing this along. Seeing all that red is inconvenient. What do you mean, the pollution cloud, or I don't know. I just sort of zone it out by now. Alright, so that is in. Drones are now filling out up to here. And no, we're still out of landfill, and that wasn't like an actual power problem, right? That was just that one thing getting charged. Yeah, that's just that one thing getting charged. Alright. You ready to see your base, but there's so much red? I don't know. I mean, within the base itself, it's basically like you can't tell. The only place the pollution cloud is, really, is outside of your drone range, I guess. Like, you just can't see it with the drone range overlaid. And even then, like, it's just a background color. Alright, I think we need to just let the... I don't know. I don't like sitting around waiting for things for too long. I think we just need to let the landfill cook some more. And we'll be back there probably next stream. Or, yeah, probably just wait till next stream. What is all this? These are just a bunch of storage chests. And none of them look especially empty. But just to be sure, it's not like these are expensive or anything, so let's just get another row. One thing I intended to do for ages and then never did was like recycle the stuff in these storage chests back around into like useful places where I can grab them. My voice is getting a bit sore, actually. So, yeah, I think I might have to wrap up the stream a bit early. Unfortunately, that just sort of happened all of a sudden. We'll go for a little bit more. And just see if there's been any more traffic jams. Let's see here. Traffic jams. I do not see any. I assume this is still struggling for a lack of crude oil. It is. This is somehow... Some of these are still going, but they're about to stop. Okay, wait. Okay, I might have caused another catastrophe. This needs to be named rocket fuel output. I really hope there is not just rocket fuel in random stops around the factory now. That would be very bad. Well, I guess we'll figure that out when something else breaks. And hopefully nothing will ever break because there was no problem. Alright, let's look back at our actual rocket launch site. Because we have a lot of rocket fuel now, so theoretically that should mean that at the very least rocket fuel is no longer the limiting factor on these. Yes. So we have plenty of rocket fuel in here. And that's probably enough input. So now, now the next problem is going to be blue circuits. So let's just take a peek if blue circuits are broken because anything's gone horribly wrong, or if they're just slow. Alright, so we don't have our sulfuric acid, which could be an issue. It could be an issue because sulfuric acid is like tangentially related to the nuclear pipeline. Alright, so this doesn't have iron plates, and that's at least partially because it isn't set up to the new iron plate system. So let's get train unloader V2 onto this. It should mostly line up except for the circuit stuff. And you are not copper, you are iron. Alright, then we need more arithmetic combinators. So let's just craft up a bunch of them, and then plop down the old temporary passive provider chest, give you some, and now let's craft a couple more for myself. So those drones are going to go and bring them down. Alright. So, sulfuric acid. Currently still in need of those. Priority is set to 0 as a result. Till the combinators get in. There we go, and there we go. Now this is priority 100. And hopefully we'll see a train stopping by soon. Do I only see one at an output? I only see one train actively loading, which is no good. We need more than that. So let's find somewhere out of the way where I can... all of these stops are just in use one way or another. I just need to find like an empty out of the way stop, preferably with nothing that's going to get loaded into it against my will. Yeah, there's actually just stuff in all of these stops up here. I hope I'm not like low on spare stops. That would be a weird problem to have. One entity is being damaged. Okay. That's fine. That is basically what you're there for. And it looks like you were out in front of the defensive line, which means you weren't shooting the defensive line. I might... Since we do have a defensive line there, though, I might pull you back into safety. Alright, well, this isn't a stop, but it's just like an unused stretch of rail, mostly. So you get a car for those. You get some starter fuel, and you get added to the iron plates group and set on automatic. Did I put you in facing the wrong way? I put you in facing the wrong way. Alright, well, you can then face that way. And, oh, it remembered the name I gave it. That's neat. Alright, so now you can go off and join the Iron Plates group, and hopefully that will solve that problem. Because we have a bunch of stops full of iron plates, but if there are no trains loading, then it doesn't really do much good. That's got 2 perfectly good empty stops there. This one over here does have 2 trains loading in it. Alright, sulfuric acid did, with a higher priority, get iron plates. So now that can go, and is this set to do weird stuff? Yeah, this is set to only go to at full cargo, which is not ideal, but it should get through eventually. Okay, and this is running still. Yeah, I mean, everything that I look at is either filled up or actively running. This one isn't. What are you? You're steel. Alright, let's find out what's wrong with steel. Nothing is wrong with steel, it's just a bit of a slowpoke. Yeah, so this is one of the many things which I need to upgrade with beacons with speed modules, because they make such a massive difference. Like, we could probably get almost saturated belts off of this if we did that, and still be at max efficiency modules. But it's... yeah, it's the sort of thing that I'm going to need to do eventually, but I'm not going to do right now at this moment. Alright. So that is all good. I'll just go over and do it, actually. I'm going to wrap up the stream soon, but I can just do that one last thing before I go. So let's head down to our steel production. And we're here. Alright, so we just need to make it so that every other one of these guys... So we need to take that out, we need to take that out, and, well, actually I want to put a power line there so it'll overwrite that inserter, because if I don't do that, it'll just put the speed modules out onto the belt, which has happened many times and is very annoying. Alright, so you get speed modules. We're all good to go. Then did I take this guy's input out? I don't remember doing that, but I must have just never given it to him somehow. Alright, then you can also get faster loaders for whatever it's worth. Wait, actually we're low on iron plates here. If we're low on iron plates, this isn't going to make much of a difference, but I'm going to do it anyways. Alright. Hopefully there are no unintended side effects of this. Alright. Any unintended side effects? No. Not immediately, at least. Okay, now we need to do the same thing with this row. Okay, that's just walls and lasers being damaged but not destroyed. That's fine. So, these ones are actually going to be, like, mega efficient. Because we're going to have multiples of the beacons for each one. So your power line goes there. You get removed. We get a beacon with speed modules. And I think that is all that needs to be. So we just... This is messed up, isn't it? Why do you not have an input? You need an input. Actually, have it over there, like all the rest of the ones in this line. Just so that you're organized. Okay, then we can take this and just start pasting it across. Alright. Then on this one we want to have them starting here. So we take that out, we take that out. We put the beacon in. Give you the speed modules. And let's see, if I just copy, paste this whole section, no, we need the power line there to obstruct and overwrite the thing from unloading everything. Alright, now I think this is good. So now we should be able to just place this in every other. And then I guess we're going to have to do this edge manually as well. So you get a beacon with speed modules. There we go. Now, let's see here. This row down here needs them a lot as well. Because this seems to be like a main row which isn't being used to its full capacity. So, see, the output there is in the center. These ones up here are presumably based on the same thing, so I can just grab this whole row, probably, and paste down to here. Maybe? Maybe? Let's see, it'll probably be fine. Yeah, the only thing we're overwriting are the things that we want to be overwriting, I think. Click that. And all of those go in. Then we need to just get it like that. All of those go in. And now that should be a lot better at using all of that iron that it's getting. Alright. Now, if the iron supply is actually not fast enough, then we're going to have to do some upgrades. Actually, well, one thing. This isn't really unloading very fast, is it? It's It's actually probably unloading as fast as it can. If we wanted this to unload faster, we'd have to do some even more tricky stuff with using both sides of all of these belts, and I don't really want to do that. Although, just getting it into the boxes, actually... Wait, no, because this is set up... This is set up specifically to have only 3 of these, so I don't think we can easily do that. Now, does a train immediately show up here? No, doesn't look like it. So we can last a little bit off of these stockpiles, but not crazy long, and my upgrades have made it marginally worse, at least up here on the top. Alright, let's see here. I can get this giant mega row in the same way as I did this one. Probably, let's see, the outputs there are in the center, which I accounted for. The outputs down there are in the center, which I accounted for. Yes, so I can just copy paste all of that. And make sure it lines up properly. And in we go. And in we go. Okay. So now that is even more ability to burn through some iron plates and make steel. We have a couple more rows down here, but I mean, we are definitely going to be reaching the point very soon where none of this matters anymore. These don't have input problems, right? No, they look fine. How are you liking the game? It is incredibly fun. I am having a blast. I'm very close to reaching the point where I'm going to be done with this particular save, and then I'm just immediately going to be starting a new one and doing Space Age that time. So yeah, it's a great game. Alright, so that it looks like this might be stable on iron plates actually, and there was just a bit of a delay. You suggest learning the base game more first? I feel like I have a pretty decent handle on it, honestly. Like, this is my first game, but I've been playing this first game for quite a while. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I generally know how to do balancers. I don't think I have, like, good blueprints for them or anything, but I know, like, the general concept at least. And besides, if they're important to figuring out Space Age, then I can figure them out then, you know? That's half the fun, is figuring out how to do new stuff. Yep. Cyan's got it right. If you need to know something, then you learn it then, and that's how you improve. Alright, so this is going just fine. I don't know why I did it like this. If I put an additional balancer in here, I mean, this is just, like, objectively better, right? Because now it's all going to be... Now they'll be even instead of potentially having weird numbers. So this particular part of the factory is pretty old, and I haven't touched it in a while, so there's going to be some weird stuff like that in here. Alright. Let's see here. So that's steel. I mean, it's looking fine-ish. Could be better, but it's not terrible. Now, why was I messing with steel? There was something that was short on it. Was it up here or something? There was some factory somewhere which didn't have steel. I think it was this one. And now it has some steel. Not a huge amount, but it's short on red circuits. Alright, red circuits, where are you? You are having plastic. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, the entire crude oil situation continues to be an issue. And I really just need to grab these couple extra crude oil setups, like up here. Grab that one, and then there's also one down. It's a bit hard to see with the pollution. There's also this one which I can grab, and then I'm going to have to go exploring off the edges of the map for more, because there is just not much crude oil at all. I could probably just like work on doing coal liquefaction. That's something I haven't touched at all, and theoretically probably can provide me with quite a lot of heavy oil. But I don't know. Let's look at that next time. I think we're gonna wrap up the stream here. My voice is a bit sore and I don't want to push it too much. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun. So we are almost at the point, like, okay, science production is bricked, but aside from that, we are almost at the point where we can call it a day, and I assume that's just because of the blue circuit shortage. So yeah, we need to get blue circuits in, and then possibly upgrade more of those. The satellite production is going fine, and then we'll have this going full speed. Well, the extra blue circuits is going to be a task and a half, but that'll be the job for next stream, probably. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream various factory building games. Currently I'm alternating between Satisfactory on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Factorio on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure to stop by in the future. I will be doing Satisfactory tomorrow, where we are getting started on thermal propulsion rockets, which is insanely complicated and is going to be definitely a multi-stream task. So if you're interested in that, I will be working on that for the foreseeable future on those days. Otherwise, you can just stop by for Factorio as well, where we're just cooking along. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun as always, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.